Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey.
All right, stop me if you've heard this one. So there's this convict in prison. We all know he's a convict because everybody calls him convict. But he's a likable guy, right? And we all really like him. He's funny, he's entertaining. There's something about this guy that you're like, yeah, he might be a criminal, but he's a lovable guy. He probably wouldn't hurt an innocent person. He would just hurt a bad guy. Well, I'm okay with that. But then there's this cop that needs his help. And this cop's he's kind of a dick, if I'm being honest. He really is like a major D-bag. And he can't drive, and he's loud and gruff, and he's a horrible friend to this guy. And all he does is use him. All right, so now, if you're thinking 48 hours, you're right. Now just repeat all of that for the sequel. So, it's maybe not as bad as I'm letting on. I didn't hate this movie, so don't nobody light your torches and come for me. But I do think there was some stuff repeated that maybe didn't have to be repeated. I did enjoy watching the film. So again, it's no reason to sound the alarm, kids. But we are discussing another 48 hours here today. We recently did 48 hours, the original film, and we gave our opinions there. And you can go back and listen to that. It's in the archives. Please and thank you. But today we, of course, are tackling the sequel. And there's lots of stuff to talk about here today. And I do like the idea of the plot. Let's get it out of the way right now. I like they went a different direction with it. Dirty cops and whatnot. So I did enjoy that part of it. But again, a lot to get to. But before we get to it, let's get this out of the way. Another 48 Hours is a 1990 American action comedy directed by Walter Hill and starring Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy reprising their roles as Inspector Jack Cates and Reggie Hammond. A sequel to the 1982 hit 48 Hours, the film reunites the mismatched duo as Cates once again pulls Reggie out of prison to help track down a mysterious drug lord known as the Iceman. Released by Paramount Pictures on June 8, 1990, the movie was produced on a significantly larger budget than the original, around $50 million, and grossed about $153 million worldwide, making it a commercial success despite mixed critical reviews. And that is your lowdown for another 48 hours. So, Phil, we're getting back into this. We're going to wrap up the franchise with just 2 episodes and, be done with it. Thoughts on another 48 hours? How did this hold up for you compared to the original film?
Yeah, I didn't remember much of this movie when I watched it earlier for this show. It tries to do a lot of what works very well from the first movie. It kind of feels like they're trying to catch lightning in a bottle a second time, and it doesn't quite work. Like there's still things here that works. Of course, Eddie Murphy is still charismatic. He's still very funny. The Western pastiche they're doing for this movie, it's still the same that they went for in the first movie. It still works here, but it's just like hard to get around the fact that a lot of this movie is retread, and it's not retread in a very interesting way.
It's not, and even down to the point of him screaming Roxanne while on the headphones, I'm like, the fact that he's still in prison, to me, I wasn't a fan of. I think I'm going to go rewrite a movie that no one cares to rewrite, but I don't know. To me, what maybe would have been more intriguing had he not been in prison, but he needed Cates this time, not the other way around. Like he went and sought out Cates because of X, Y, and Z, and Cates ends up kind of fixing himself in the process by teaming back up with Reggie. But of course, that's not the way they went.
Yeah, I figured there'd be something to it that he was still in jail, but I don't know if we ever really get an answer to why he's still in jail because they hint at it. They hint at this payroll thing, and he is insistent he didn't do it. But it's kind of a dangling plot point by the end of the movie because it's never proven whether he did it or not.
Prison payroll. A prison payroll. You ever heard of such a thing? So apparently the prison payroll is done in cash, not checks, not direct deposit. I guess 1999 is too early for direct deposit. What the frick are we talking about, man? Stealing the prison payroll. It's almost like they fell asleep on that plot point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they set up the plot point and then never went back to it. It's like they needed a way to keep him in jail for 5 more years, but then they never really addressed it again.
I mean, to me, also, if you're going to keep him in prison, just say that he had extra time tacked on because of Kate's busting him out. I mean, a convict had a weapon. He was seen with a weapon. Maybe it was a weapons charge. Maybe he, he broke a lot of laws
Yeah.
while helping Nolte. Like,
Yeah, that's a very easy way to get past that.
yes.
But instead we get this payroll plot point that doesn't really add much to this movie. Like I said, they don't really go back to it by the end of the movie.
No, they never circle back. I mean, they mentioned it a couple of times, but
Yeah, I kept expecting to find out the other guy that is telling him the entire movie, you owe me one. I've been protecting you the entire time in jail. I kept expecting to find out that guy set him up.
exactly. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
And it never happened. Like
Never happened.
and even every time we go back to that character, they make a point of keeping that character a through line throughout the movie. And then, like I said, there's not really an interesting end to their dynamic. It's just like he's telling him the whole movie, "You're gonna pay what you owe." Even their like very awkward interaction where he brings Kate's to see him and he punches the glass and they just cut to the next scene. That was very weird.
Man, that's a strong dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. How'd he get his fist through that glass, man? Come on.
This is a very over the top movie. The budget for sugar glass in this movie had to been astronomical. 'Cause
Astronomical.
They love to break glass in this movie.
I'm telling you. Good Lord. Yeah, it reminded me of Truth in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Or yeah, you know what I mean? That's what it reminded me of. Like the older veteran, like the guy who's like grizzled and he's big and stout. And I'm like, he put his hand through the freaking what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Look, it's Eddie Murphy, it's Nick Nolte. Their chemistry, I believe, is back on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think their chemistry in this movie is way better than the first one. It just, to me, it feels more real. It feels like Eddie held his own, of course, in the first one, but it really felt like they were sparring this time, like in the best possible way. What did you think about them working together again?
Well, this movie was made 1992.
1990.
Oh, 1990. So this was 8 years later. Eddie Murphy is clearly a better actor in this movie. And that's not to
I
say
agree.
that Eddie is a bad actor in the first movie, but you could just tell the difference in 8 years.
Yeah.
He's an established star at this point. He's an established leading man, and he feels like it now. Like it feels like in the first movie, the potential was there. That was the breakout role. You knew that he could get there. By the time we get to this movie, he's arrived.
He has arrived. Yeah. Again, like not just holds his own, but like he and Nolte are just absolutely on the same level. Absolutely. And honestly, there at any given time, he's punching above Nolte, but not through anything that Nick's done wrong. It's just his charisma is just off the charts in 1990, as it always has been, really.
Yeah, there's so many scenes that are much funnier than they really should be because he just does such a great job of selling the circumstances. Like when he presses that alarm key and the car blows up, and he's just saying the whole time, "They blew up my car," and it's like on the surface, because he's just repeating the same lines, it shouldn't be that funny. But his facial expressions, the way he keeps looking back and forth at Nolte and then looking at the car, hilarious.
So good. So good. Even at the end when Iceman's got him cinched up and he's yelling at Nolte and he's like, just let me go. Have Jack go ahead and shoot me. Just shoot me. Like, just let him shoot me. Just get this day over with. Oh my God, it was so good. And then of course he shoots him, which brings the whole, franchise back around full circle from the first movie. So I mentioned the Iceman plot in the beginning. I got to be honest with you. I'm actually a big fan of this. It feels like another layer that wasn't in the first movie. It doesn't feel like something that was duplicated or rehashed. Like Cates has a purpose. He has a reason to keep living because he's trying to find this guy that everyone's telling him isn't real, doesn't exist. And we come to find out, well, of course, cops are telling him it's not real because they're in on it. Like,
Yeah.
I was actually a big fan of that angle here. I think they did as well as they could with it, to be honest with you, Phil. But like, what did you think about the whole plot with the Iceman here?
I think it was an interesting plot. Um, it got very cumbersome by the end. Like it was a few twists and turns, too many by the end. It's like, well, they ran in that courtroom because they thought the internal affairs guy
Yeah.
was Iceman, and then it wasn't him. Then they very much make you think it's the other guy whose desk is close to Kate's, which I'd have been like, bro, if this guy has been sitting next to you for 4 years and you didn't know, I don't.
Right.
That would have been crazy. But then we finally get the reveal of Iceman. It's just like, oh, it's him, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Brian James is Inspector Ben Kehoe was the Iceman. And at any given time, we thought it was Kevin Teague, who is Lieutenant Blake Wilson. He's the smug schmuck from IA. And then we thought Edo Ross is Inspector Frank Cruz. He does end up being a dirty cop, but we think maybe that's him and it's not him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, the inspector from Eternal Affairs, he looks like a Bond villain. So
Absolutely.
every time he's on screen with Nick Nolte, it's like, what's up with this guy? Why does it seem like he's enjoying ruining this guy's life? And he keeps like being very smug about it, like, I take no pleasure in this. But it's just kind of like, yeah, you sure? It kind of seems like you are. And so it's very believable that he is Iceman at certain points. So when he comes in there and Jake is yelling at him the whole time, like, it's gotta be him. It is him. And
yeah, that's him. He's screaming as loud as he can.
It has to be him. And Reggie is just kind of like, no, it ain't him. What are you talking about? It's not him.
And like the judge is saying, all right, well, that's it. That did it for me. I've heard all I need to hear. You're going to stand trial. And I'm like, are y'all going to arrest him? Shouldn't they arrest him? Why wasn't he arrested, by the way, Phil? If he's going to stand trial for this, why wasn't he arrested first?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Was that the union telling them that they couldn't do that? I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, dude, I was here for the Iceman stuff. It almost felt like a different movie at times because they were getting so heavily into that. I will say this. We talked about stuff that duplicates. While the Iceman stuff didn't duplicate from anything happened in the first movie, they absolutely went back to the tried and true formula of two dumb criminals who were blowing up everything. I mean, dude, we've got Gans' brother, Richard Cherry Gans, and his dumb freaking partner, David Anthony Marshall, as Willie Hickok. I mean, this looks, one of these guys looks like Hangman Adam Page. And, they both look like they just stepped out of a Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, right? Dude, again, the dumbest criminals ever. And I messaged you today on Blue Sky about when they shot that sheriff's deputy in the beginning of this movie, you'd think he was using Hellboy's gun. Dude, she went so far back through that plate glass window. Like, man, the 80s stunt men had a lot of fun with that cable that yanked them back through that plate glass window, man. Right. But I'm like, did we need all that? What in the world is in that gun, by the way? Like,
there's so much cartoonish violence in this movie.
Yes.
Like, that scene of her getting shot out the window, the way she went flying out the window looks so unrealistic.
Terrible.
And then when Kate's is like, stop, halt right there, I'll shoot. And then he shoots the guy, shoots the gas meter next to him. And like, it's blowing up, fires everywhere. And it's just like, you got a guy in the middle of it running around on fire. And he's trying to roll around and get himself free. And it's just like, why is all of this happening? It's just like the slow-mo shots on people flying through windows and stuff. It's just like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, the thing at the beginning, and that's John Del Regno as Arthur Brock. He's the guy killed at the gas pump. That thing went south quick, Phil. Like I kind of on the cop's side. Kate's F this up. You know what I mean? He absolutely F this up.
He's completely reckless. He's like, stop or I'll shoot. And then shoots. And like gas is coming all out of there. And he's still shooting. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, he kept shooting. Like 4 times. He emptied his gun, I think. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, gas is coming out of the gas pump and everything. He's still shooting. Fire is flying all over. He's not like at any point remorseful, like, hey, I might have messed this up. He's like, no, that guy, he was gonna get away. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah. Right? He ain't getting away. You set him on fire. Well,
Dude,
I shoot him one more time. That'll be sure. He's
his whole defense is, well, his gun's in the rubble somewhere. In the rubble from you setting off a gas explosion.
Yes. You did that. Like, Cage is a bad cop too, but he ain't bad because he's dirty. He's bad because he's not good at his job, like, at all. I mean,
Yeah, everything about like the circumstances and everything, and how he's like, yeah, they're trying to get me for this murder. They couldn't find a weapon in there, and it's just like, yeah, but what you did was incredibly reckless. And then even when he's talked about like his ex from the first movie, he's like, yeah, you talked to me into getting married, and we bought this house. And it's like, wait a minute. And it's like, yeah, we're separated now, though. It's just like, well, she talked to you into getting married. Did you want to get married or not?
yeah, and she was nowhere to be found. Annette O'Toole was not in this film, which is very interesting. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe they couldn't talk her into coming back. But
Yeah, I mean, that Kate's just told you he couldn't talk her into coming back.
well, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you mentioned earlier the guy that's in prison that gets Reggie to do the favor for him. I mean, I did like that bit of it. I thought it was fine. I don't know why we didn't get an explanation. I think it's fine the way they tied it together. I did like the reveal because this was Bernie Casey as Kirkland Smith. And later on, we find out that the deal was, I'll protect you in here. And Eddie's like, all right, fine. What do you want from me? And I'll take money to my daughter and set her up. And that was Tisha Campbell as Amy Smith, Kirkland's daughter. I didn't see that coming. I didn't know what was going on, but we got a very early, I don't know if this is one of the first things Tisha Campbell did, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, Tisha Campbell, of course, popular for House Party,
Mm-hmm.
Martin, tons of other things she's done. Yeah, I think that was a good reveal. It's just that they kept going back to that character in jail, and I was like, this has to be going somewhere, right? Because we've seen this character. I thought we were going to see him when Reggie was getting out of jail, and they went back to that character a few times. I was like, okay, this has got to be going somewhere, right?
He's so mad, isn't he? He's so mad. Every time he talks to him, he's so pissed.
Yeah, he's like, let me talk to him brother to brother, just for him to smash the window. This is
You're
still one
right.
of the most ridiculous scenes in the movie.
I'm thinking, why are you so mad? If you have people on the outside like you say you do, why get mad? Just tell him you F me over and I'll kill you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's quite upset.
Very upset. There's several characters in this movie just comically angry and just doing the most cartoonish violence there is. Like the Gans character in this movie, like you said, he is just like shooting people with reckless abandon, and every time he shoots people, it's just done. It's done in the most ridiculous way. Like they're like these like gruff bikers, like that's got the same like Western feel to it. Like the beginning of this movie feels like a different movie.
Mm.
Because they've got like the desert sand and just like
Yes.
that bar that they're talking in. It's like, where is this bar? Like, is this in like another? This in like a few decades back in a land where time forgot? Like, what is this?
Yeah, man, Clint Eastwood's coming in any minute. Yeah, dude, I had the same feeling. Listen, if you play just this opening for anybody who hadn't seen this movie and then stop it and go, that's an Eddie Murphy movie, they go, no, it's not. Like, what are you talking about?
Where he's going. But yeah, these guys looked the part as bad guys. Their motivation at one point got very murky because it's like, yeah, we want to kill. We want to kill Reggie. We want to kill the cop that killed my brother, and we want to kill Iceman. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why do you want to kill everybody now? Like,
right? They go off the rails.
But yeah, Gads's brother, when he flips out, it's one of the most unintentionally funny scenes in the movie. When he flips out, when Jack comes in there and he's trying to tell him to put down his gun. He's like, "No, I killed you. You're supposed to be dead." And he's like shooting all over the place. It's just like he's like, "No, you're dead. You're dead."
It's like, let me ask you something. If he shot him point blank and didn't kill him, what makes you think shooting all around him is going to kill him? Like,
He's just completely freaking out. Like, no, I know I killed you. And now, to be fair, pretty fair assumption to make after you shot this guy 6 times at point blank through a window.
that's true.
I'm not sure how, even though he had on a Kevlar vest, he was just up walking again scenes later like that didn't happen. That wasn't very realistic. And I thought the whole Kevlar vest thing and the whole point of setting that up was to set up later in the movie where Reggie gets shot that Reggie is wearing a Kevlar vest. Nope, he just shoots him for real.
Just shoots him for real. Right? Yeah. That didn't make any sense to me either. That was messed up. Yeah, again, not the two smartest criminals we've ever seen, but I guess it wouldn't be a 48 hours movie.
Yeah.
Two
The
smart
other
criminals.
thing that I thought was very funny about the bad guys is Iceman spent this entire movie in secrecy. Nobody knows who he looks like. Anybody who's seen him, he makes sure to wipe them out. His whole point of wanting to kill Reggie is he knows what he looks like, so he has to go. The second he's seen, he's like in the middle of this club, just shooting recklessly on top of bars and stuff, shooting this Uzi. Everybody can see you now, so you're just forget the secrecy. I'm shooting everybody. It's like, bro.
Oh, you know what? I got another one for you. When he reveals to Nolte in the third act of the film that he knows what the guy looks like, had he mentioned that little nugget anytime previous in this movie? Like,
I don't think he reveals it until he talks about the fact that it has to be a cop, and
right.
Yeah. So I think that's the first time he revealed it when he tells him it has to be a cop.
So at that point, you're Nolte, you're Cates. Wouldn't you call up a buddy who's a police artist and say, hey, have you got a half hour? I got a guy that's going to give you a description. Wouldn't that have made a lot of sense?
After he had been putting together sketches the whole movie of the other black guy character that worked for Iceman. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, but he didn't even think of that. That was Brent Jennings as Tyrone Burroughs, who's another, like, pretty classy character in this. He wasn't bothered. He kept calling Gans and Hickok hillbillies, which I think they had that coming.
Yeah, he was basically Bizarro Reggie. He was Reggie on the other side. There are a lot of similarities to Reggie.
Same mustache, same haircut almost.
Yeah.
And you know what part of me was thinking? This is how long it's been since I watched this movie. I'm like, is that guy gonna get killed and Reggie's gonna take his place for a drop or something that I'm not remembering? Like, I didn't know if I was right or not. I'm like, you could have cast an overweight actor, you could have cast a bald actor, you could have cast an actor with any kind of hair, with any kind of facial hair, with different no glasses. You could have cast a woman, you could have cast anybody. But yeah, you're right. The similarity was
Yeah. It almost feels like they were trying to set up the premise that everything that Kate thinks of Reggie, that's what this guy is.
Buddy, I'm gonna tell you something. Once again, you have hit me with something that I'm like, I don't know if you're right, but that sounds way better than maybe what we got.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were trying to do there. The way he dies is ridiculous and hilarious. Just like
Yeah, he grazes him on the side of the head, we assume. Like, number one, the guy's not deaf, and then he goes, ah, and then he laughs.
Yeah, he just proceeds to monologue him while holding his ear, and blood is just pouring out, and then Gans finally kills him, and it's just like, all right, very weird scene.
Yeah, you feel like these two guys are off the rails, man.
Boink Studios YouTube is the home of Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Tom Clark's Main Event, Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Subscribe to the channel for archives that date back to 2014, with new content being uploaded every week. And check out boinkstudios.com for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Bookmark the site today.
To catch you up on the plot, kids, in case you haven't figured this out yet, we haven't ruined it for you. This film takes place several years. They're calling it 5 years, I think, Phil, but in fact has been 8. So in the movie, they said it was 5 years ago or whatever. And it's at the events of the first film. Jack Cates is suspended from the San Francisco PD during the course of this movie. And of course, he's been after the Iceman for quite a long time, as we said. And he's been told by other cops that the guy doesn't exist and he needs Reggie. When he goes to get Reggie out of prison, I'm thinking, I'm not going. You're not getting me to go this time. There's nothing in it for me. Like,
Mhm.
except for him getting his money, Phil. Why would he go? And then, like, why in the world would he help him in the end? At this point, I'm like, not that I was on Kate's side to begin with in the first movie because I wasn't, but I'm like, if I'm Reggie, why in the world would I help this guy again? And then he says to him, Phil, I haven't seen you in 5 years. I thought we were friends. And then Kate says, yeah, well, I've been busy. And I'm like, come on, man. Is that how we're starting this film? That sucks.
Yeah. That whole interaction and Reggie hits him in the face with the ball and then proceeds to start beating him up. And they're like, "You're in big trouble this time." But then he just ends up getting out of jail one time anyway.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I didn't get that. I mean, they ended the first film on such a high note. Like you think, well, maybe these guys are going to be able to form some kind of friendship after this dude gets out of prison, and then we end up right back where he was in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose our takeaway was supposed to be that Cates got what he wanted out of that situation by the end of the first movie, but Cates is also not a good person.
That's fair.
And we've seen that in multiple terms. This guy is just not good at interpersonal relationships. And so, of course, he would go back and see him in jail and go, "Yeah, no, I haven't been visiting this guy. Yeah, because you're not a good person."
He's not a good person. And what sucks is that Reggie is a good person and could probably be a good friend to him, but Cates just screws everything up all the time.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any better at driving. That one scene where he picks up the guy who doesn't know his Iceman, and they're taking off down the road. That's actually Nolte driving that car, and it's terrifying. Dude, did you like? Y'all are letting Nick drive. Did he really drive in the first movie? Is that why it was so bad? Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Bro, they're not just letting actors drive cars like that anymore unless they're like insured and they're like they've done like the stunt work and everything now because different times. These movies make a lot of money. They cost a lot of money to make,
Yeah.
and they don't want to be held liable. I'm sure for something happening to an actor or an actor uh, causing some kind of property damage or harming somebody.
Well, having said that, they're still letting Tom Cruise jump off stuff, but I guess
Man,
they can't tell that guy no, right?
He used to do his own stunts, and I'm sure he pays some kind of insurance or something. I'm sure it's not just he's doing his own stunts at this age, which is insane.
Yeah, they Matt Damon's got a great story about that. I don't know if you heard it, but it's fantastic. Where he said he was talking to Cruise about doing his own stunts, and Cruise tells him the story about I forget, I guess it's one of the Mission Impossible films he's working on, where he's like, he's always excited when he talks, but he's like, yeah, so I'm talking to the stunt guy, and he's like, you can't do this stunt, it's too dangerous. He's like, why can't I do it? And he's like, well, you can't do it for this, this, and this. And he's like, well, and Matt's like, wow, that happened. He's like, yeah. So what'd you do? Well, here's what happened. So I talked to the next stunt guy. Like he just made it very clear that guy had been dismissed and they'd replace him with somebody else. So, I mean, again, if there's something big and tall in a movie, Tom Cruise is probably going to jump off of it.
Yes, he's got to find a way.
He's going to find a way. Yeah, dude's crazy. This, I bragged on the first movie, kids, because we didn't have a whole lot of 80s synthesizer. We got lucky again because while we did have some big horns in this movie's 1990, not 1985, not 1986 or 87. So there again, Phil, I think we got lucky, but I did hear some horns. But I will say that the music overall was fine. It wasn't early Lethal Weapon films where it's all jazz horn through the entire soundtrack. So
A lot of like that, like kind of like steel drum, like I don't know, it's some kind of percussion. Kind of sound like steel drum, but it kind of sound like almost like a xylophone.
Maybe. I know what you're talking about. That sound they're going for. Yeah. I heard a lot of that here too. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the music's as good in this movie as it was in the last movie in terms of it being a gritty cop film.
No,
And I think it was fine, but I don't know if it did any favors.
I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of Eddie Murphy sequels, it didn't come with Better Day or anything like that afterwards. Where every time he showed up on screen,
Right?
no, there was no Michael McDonald here.
No Michael McDonald. Michael hadn't found him yet. Because once he found him, he never quit following him around. By the way, you said Eddie Murphy sequels. How would you rank this one overall in terms of an Eddie Murphy sequel? You think it does it outperform the first one for you? I know we talked about it's got some issues, but in terms of him as a performer, he's better in this one. Yeah. So what do you think about the sequel?
He's better in this movie. I don't think this movie is a really good sequel because the first one is better. Um, I get that they're trying to raise the stakes. They've got like this big mystery and seedy mustache twirling drug dealer behind everything. So we got to raise all the stakes, but I don't think that this movie's better than the first one. And I think for everything you could say about Beverly Hills Cop 2, I don't know, man. I think Beverly Hills Cop 2 is probably better than this movie.
We did that trilogy. Well, we did all the Beverly Hills Cop movies here, kids. Wasn't it part 3 where they were at the amusement park?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that movie. Oof, not a fan of that movie.
You're not a fan of Axel Fox?
No, not at all. Yeah. Good episodes, kids. Go listen to them. Well, I will say this about this sequel. It's slick, right? The presentation is much slicker than the first one. Not as gritty, not as dark, not as grainy. I mean,
Yeah.
it very much feels like a 1990 film. Does no longer feels like an 82 film, which is fine. But, I don't know if it being more polished and commercial helps it. I don't know that it helped it, Phil. I don't know that it hurt it tremendously. I think the plot hurt it more than anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We definitely toned down some of the stereotypes and some of the language used here.
Mhm.
We still had the over the top violence. I feel like the violence was more cartoonish this time around. Still random gratuitous nudity that was just thrown in here. Like
Yeah.
the scene where I guess it was from the inside of like people watching another movie where there was like this woman like groping her big boobs on screen, and then like the motorcycles come flying through the screen while it's happening. It's just like, huh?
I guess they're all in there watching a porn together. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Man alive. Yeah. I don't think we got the N word in this movie, did we?
No. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we were in the 90s at that point. It would have
That's
been
true.
harder to get away with that.
That's true. There was no homophobic stuff here either, was there?
No, they dialed a lot of that back.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how we were both on the first one going, yeah, it's too much, too much. I'm not advocating for any of it to be in this one, but I kind of feel like we're just gonna act like none of that happened. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, right? It just felt way more cleaned up, I guess.
Yeah, but that's also why I wasn't surprised that Kate wasn't a really good friend to him, because the first movie he was trying to just act like, well, I was just doing my job. I was just trying to keep you guys down. It's like,
Yeah. It's good old friendly racism there, Reggie. What do you want me to say to you? Cage is not much of a friend I'd want, for sure.
no.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Murphy's rise, kids. He's very much his own man in this movie. And because of his career, the way it was blowing up and everything, the production for this movie was delayed by several years because by 1990, Murphy's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. As we said before, Walter Hill, who directed the first one, of course, did come back, and he wanted to maintain creative continuity, which is good. I mean, I'm a fan of that. Screenplay was credited to Hill and Roger Spottiswoode, who actually did the first one, and also to Larry Gross and Stephen E. D'Souza, also on the first film. The filming took place primarily in Los Angeles and surrounding areas. Standing in for San Francisco, and buddy, I felt it, Phil. I didn't feel this was in San Francisco this time at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely felt a bit different. Like they tried to make it look like San Francisco as much as possible, but you could kind of tell.
Yeah, I again don't know if it hurt it too much, but it definitely didn't help it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think where they tried too hard to duplicate the setting and like the vibe of the first movie, I think that's sometimes where the movie suffered because it came off as unnatural at times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I said in the opening, and look, kids, it's not just 48 hours. Go choose your sequel. Choose your sequel now. And I guarantee you'll find some stuff repeated from the first movie. It's just what Hollywood does. They can't help themselves. They figure, remember all that stuff you loved? Well, here it is again. Phil, that stuff is fine in small doses. But when you do too much, and I'll be honest with you, Phil, I don't think they did too much here. They do it. I personally didn't watch this and turn off going, well, that was just part one rewound. I didn't get that, man, at all. I just don't think it clicked as they maybe thought it was going to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, no disrespect to Nick Nolte here. Had this not been another 48 hours, it had just been a cop movie with Eddie Murphy in the lead, and it's not Beverly Hills Cop. It's a different sort of character. Now you're talking. Maybe that would have, in terms of critics. But dude, you can't argue with the results. This movie made $153 million.
Yeah, I mean, that was the Eddie Murphy Midas touch at that point. Like everything that guy touched was making money.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. As we said, kids, the chemistry between Nolte and Murphy is the strength of this film. Sharp banter, they're more on equal footing, as we alluded to earlier, and much more mature dynamic. Eddie's not a kid anymore. He doesn't feel like a kid. Yeah, I mean, I was here for that. Basically, kids, it's the moment a movie is released and makes money, they start talking about wanting to do a sequel. And that's what happened here. But again, as we said, Eddie Murphy's career had taken off by that point, so it took several years to get back. Let me ask you this. Considering that this film made as much money as it did, are you kind of surprised there wasn't a part 3?
Yeah, I am kind of a bit surprised because they tried to do so many different franchises with Eddie, and this was really his original claim to fame. So I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a third movie. It did not need one though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have cared about a third movie or not. Interestingly enough, in 2025, the Hollywood Reporter listed this movie as having the best stunts of 1990. Interesting. You know what it was? It was that Hellboy gun at the beginning, buddy. That's what did it. Blam! I'm like, what is in that thing? You could kill an elephant with that gun, dude.
Yeah, I mean, they earned it because the stunt budget for this movie had to be tremendous. I mean,
right?
Like I said, just for the glass alone. I mean,
right? Picking glass out of every orifice, man. That's what happened. Those stunt guys. To this day, they're still digging glass out. Something to think about, man. Total Recall came out a week before this movie, and it made $25 million. It became the number one movie in the country, and the studio panicked because they invested a lot of money in this movie. But they felt that, well over 2 hours, the movie might be too much. This turned out to be wrong, that the thing worked. Again, made $153 million. No reason to discredit that. And then that was Brian James talking that I just quoted there. Of course, is Iceman himself. I mean, it's interesting because part of his quote here also, he said that his screen time went from around 140 down to around, the movie itself went from 140 down to around 95 minutes. And they said, cut all the behavior, action, comedy. He lost every major scene he had. And so he was upset at the way this turned out. To his point, Phil, the reveal of Iceman, was it very impactful at all? Did you get the reveal and go, it's that guy? It kind of...
Yeah, that's why I was saying early on, I don't think that it hit at all. I think when it was revealed, it was him. I was like, oh, okay.
Right? I kind of was hoping it would be that disgruntled chief that was yelling at him 8 years earlier. That might would have been fun.
That would have been hilarious.
Like he was retired and he was pulling strings behind the scenes or something.
Yeah, it was a Nettle tool. It comes around the corner. I told y'all I would make you pay.
Yeah. Didn't believe me, did you? Yeah. Oh man, that would have been here for that. Superman's mom done gone rogue. Yeah, again, like the criminals are not great in this movie. They're pretty inept. But you can't argue with the results here because again, this thing turned out pretty darn good. Made a ton of money. Again, I'm very surprised that we didn't get a part 3. I mean, I don't know. In another world, is Nick Nolte still with us, by the way? I don't know why I don't know this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, Nick Nolte is 85 years old.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know if there's a world in which he would even care about coming back to this or if Eddie would care about doing it, but I think it might be fun at least to have the characters in something. But, that all goes back to, who owns the rights to the characters and would the studio be willing to do something like that? I don't know. We talked about a lot in the first, when we reviewed the first movie, Phil, about how important that film was to Eddie's career. Do you have a takeaway like that for him at this point in his career, or is this just another movie for him at this point?
I think the biggest takeaway is that he was everything you thought he was going to become by the time this movie came out.
Interesting.
Like if you were one of those people that had stock, like, nah, we got to continue to invest in this kid. He's going to do very well for us. Turns out, did pretty well.
Right. Yeah, that's Paramount, right? And Paramount's the studio that believed in him from very early on. They stuck with him too through the whole thing. Don't turn on the cash cow, kids. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, for sure. Kids, we tackled the first movie and talked about how important it is. I mean, I got to be honest. Had we not gotten this movie, I think we all would have been okay. But I mean, I'm just being honest. But again, I'm not mad at this movie. It's got some moments. I think it's got some fun moments in it. I like you. I don't think that it's as good as the other one, but there's stuff behind the scenes here. We did mention on the review of the first movie that Eddie's paycheck for the first film was $450,000. Nolte's was $1 million, and this time Nolte got $3 million, and Murphy got, we said $7 million in the last episode, but it's $9 million now. What's $9 million, Phil? If you've already got 7, what's the difference? But
yeah, throw a few more bags on top of the pile.
Yeah, my name's Eddie Murphy. What are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, man write his own check, which I have mad respect for because again, he was massive at his peak, man. And to show you how big he was, kids, this movie was the last of 7 Eddie Murphy movies in a row to open at number 1 in the box office. So his next number 1 wouldn't be until 96 with The Nutty Professor.
Wow. So, but yeah, I mean, he had that run in the 80s at that point where, he just couldn't miss at one point.
It's true. The chief we talked about earlier that yelled at him a bunch, that was Frank McRae. He was cast as Hayden, the same part he played in the first movie, and his part was almost completely cut from the picture. In one of the shots in the police precinct, he's on camera for a few seconds, but I don't even remember seeing him. He's not even in the credits for the film, dude.
Wow. Yeah, I don't remember him in this movie.
No, me neither. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. When Reggie's calling his old friends to try and borrow money, one of the men he calls is named Willie Biggs. In the original screenplay for the first movie, Willie Biggs was the original name of Reggie Hammond. Eddie Murphy requested that the name be changed because he thought it was a generic black name. Interesting.
Yep.
I did like him calling Phil his old friends, by the way. Trying to get help. I did enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah. The one guy that was a born again Christian, he was like, "Really? You're born again Christian? I was there when you beat up the girl."
Yeah. He made a crack about him finding Jesus too. I thought that was good.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Nick Nolte appears heavier in the role than usual because when shooting started, he was still carrying the weight he gained for Q&A, which came out in 1980. I don't think I've seen that film. I couldn't even tell you what it's about. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, once again, man, like not to kick the dead horse while it's laying there, but had we not got this sequel, I think it would have been okay. But for me personally, I think it's enjoyable. It's like you said, over the top cartoony. But Hickok and Gans makes Gans and Billy Boy look like, Butch and Sundance, right? And they were terrible criminals. After watching that doc, the Eddie Murphy doc, man, I just want to see Eddie come back at this point. I would love for him to get another franchise. It doesn't mean he has to be, running in the streets carrying a gun and doing all the stuff he did as a 20-year-old guy. But like, I'd love to see him with another successful franchise, man. I don't know if he cares about that or not, but I don't know. Watching his old stuff just makes me want to see more of him, man.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, and I think like the sequels he's done recently to some of his other movies, probably could have done without the Coming to America sequel. But I didn't think Beverly Hills Cop 4 was bad.
I didn't either. I thought that movie was pretty enjoyable. But yeah, the Coming to America sequel, I didn't really get why that movie had to be made, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wasn't really a big fan of it, but it would have been really, really hard to top the first one.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it kind of felt like if you were going to do a sequel to that one, it should have been done way earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my takeaway from that movie, man. I don't know. I mean, do you think that does he get in a rut? Is it because he's not being given good scripts? Is it because he's being given good scripts but he passes? Or do you think it's like a little bit of everything?
I think at this point it's just, when you're an established name like he is and you get all of these offers, a lot of the movies now it's not like, oh, these are great movies that anybody could be in. Like I think the thing that kind of worked about the initial 48 hours is even though it feels like it's a vehicle for him, it's not. This is a movie where he just came in and he made it his own. And so it's hard to make a movie now where he can just make these things his own because a lot of times people are coming in with Eddie Murphy in mind. You're trying to make an Eddie Murphy movie.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of what dogged this movie a little bit. You're trying to make an Eddie Murphy movie now. You're not trying to just make a buddy cop movie. You're trying to recapture the magic of what Eddie did in the first movie, and it's really tough to do that. That it happened with Coming to America sequel and a bunch of other sequels where he attempted to make, where it's just like, all right, let's reference all of the stuff that was funny about that first movie and do it in a way where it's just like, yeah, you're gonna get a chuckle out of it because I know the reference, but it's not gonna feel the same as seeing something for the first time.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fair. And I think you're right, man. Specifically, writing role for an actor, I imagine can be daunting because, especially if you're putting your heart and soul into it and the actor doesn't like it or whatever. I mean, you spent a year of your life writing it, I guess, however much time it takes you. I mean, that's a thing. And also, he kind of has to be interested to begin with and
Yeah.
show me what you got. So, I mean, if Eddie's in that position, great. But it really feels like the dude just wants to chill at home now, man.
Yeah, definitely seems like that's the case, and he's earned the right to be able to do that.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. You know what we did? Who we didn't shout out in that first review was the Bus Boys doing "The Boys Are Back in Town." Man, you talk about a fun song and a fun group on stage. I did not know that this song was written for the first movie. Like it didn't exist until it was written for that movie.
I didn't know that either.
That's crazy. It was used as the main tagline for this movie. And in the promotion blurb for the original, it started with "The Boys Are Back in Town" with that wording. This was also the name of a song written specifically for that film, as we said. Track was never released when that movie came out and was not available on CD until 2000. And for this sequel, the original song was heard at the end of the film, but the track wasn't included in the sequel's album either, which is
Really,
effing weird. Yeah.
that's odd. That the movie, that song is so synonymous with this movie, and I just always thought like, yeah, it was just a song that was on the soundtrack. But not only was it written specifically for this movie, but it wasn't on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Right. And not to be confused with Thin Lizzy's "The Boys Are Back in Town," which, by the way, I prefer this song to that song. And I like Thin Lizzy, but yeah, never been a big fan of that song. But I like this song for sure.
Yeah, I'm assuming every time I think of that song, I think of Toy Story.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there you go. I've forgotten about that. By the way, a sequel for a trequel. What do they call that? Threequel? Is that it?
Mm.
Third movie? I don't know. It would have been called Yet Another 48 Hours. Thank God they didn't do that because
No.
I was talking to Chris Patton about that the other night. Just shout out Chris Patton, but talking about sequel names where they don't try very hard. Like back when the Bring It On sequel came out, I remembered someone, a friend, someone saying they made a sequel to Bring It On. And I'm like, oh, let me guess, Bring It On Again. And the person just lit up and goes, yeah, that's the name of it. And I'm like, really? Is that that's terrible? Like I was trying to be funny. That's awful. Like, I don't know. What did you think about the fact that Kate's bought the exact same car?
Oh yeah, that made sense because that was really Reggie's joke from the first movie of like, you don't have style, like you're just you're just basic, like you like all the same things, and then he basically proves that point. 8 years later, he's still wearing the same clothes, driving the same car.
Same clothes, same car. Still can't drive it for crap. You know, we talked about the prison payroll. You and I, neither one connected the dots on this. Now I'm quite embarrassed. Reggie Hammond had his sentence extended because of robbing the payroll, and in trading places, Billy Ray Valentine was arrested for robbing the payroll.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't even put that together. That's funny.
Way over my head. Kids, there you have it. There is another 48 hours. You know, don't want to talk it to death because, Eddie's great. I think him and Nolte are great together. I'll be honest with you, man. In another world, I think we could have got a couple more movies with these guys as two totally different characters. Do you think they had enough chemistry to carry them? I'm not saying like Pryor and Wilder, not like a great comedy duo, but think there would have been enough chemistry here for the two of these guys to be different characters in another kind of movie?
Oh, for sure. I think they could have done other movies together for sure.
That's interesting. Why that didn't happen. Maybe it's just a matter of, again, the script wasn't there or their schedules were so jam packed. Maybe that's what it is. A little bit of everything, perhaps. By the way, I feel like I asked this question way too much because, look, in 2026, Phil, the word reboot has been used to death because, quite frankly, Phil, Hollywood's doing it to death.
Hmm.
Is there a world in which 48 Hours is remade? And how would you feel about that?
I think you can remake this movie. I don't think it's the same movie though. It's hard to make the same movie without Eddie Murphy, and what made it special in the '80s, you can't redo it. You can't go back to the beginning and really restart the buddy cop phase, and like you can't like you definitely cannot say a lot of the same things that were said in that movie. So very hard to remake that kind of movie in this day and age. I think a lot of what has made it special has already been done so many times now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would just be going back to the well again for something that's already run its course. But man, they're keeping that Star Trek stuff alive, buddy. They just keep making those things. And, I say that and I'm a big fan of the Star Wars universe. And of course, that stuff's not stopping. And there's another reboot. Oh, they're remaking Baywatch, by the way. Did you hear about that?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah. And the main character is going to be Hasselhoff's son, and it's going to be Stephen Amell. What do you think about that?
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know what to say. Reboot, baby, reboot. I'm just saying, get that IP and dust it off and throw it back out there.
Why not?
Why not, I guess. Kids, for everybody out there that wants to rant, go ahead and rant. It's fine. You can do what you want. But while I'm not a fan of rebooting things either, I also understand it's much easier for them to dust off IP that made a bunch of money because it's familiar. People know it. They'll go see it out of curiosity. It's almost a guaranteed ticket sale. But, buddy, when you do something brand new that no one's ever heard of, you're rolling the dice. And Phil, those movies work. Sinners absolutely works. But for every Sinners, you get 5 reboots that maybe work, maybe don't. I don't know, man. Not trying to commentary at the end of this episode. I just find it interesting where we are right now.
Yeah, everybody's trying to find the IP or find a franchise, and yeah, it's okay to do something original, guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's all right.
right. Well, hey, Phil, if nothing else, 48 Hours was original at one point.
Yeah, and that's why. Yeah, that's also why I'm just kind of like, we don't need another one. It's been done.
I agree with that. Well, Phil, before we get out of here, let's wrap this up. Get your last word on another 48 Hours.
If you're just looking for an outrageous buddy cop film to watch on a Saturday when you got nothing else to do, kick up your feet. Probably not a bad one to throw on. Not as good as the first one at all. But it finds a way to be entertaining in a lot of ways that like the first one was not, because while I won't call this a bad movie, it isn't a really great movie either.
Yeah, not a great movie. And kids, look, it's okay to be a fan of an actor or an actress or a fellow actor, whatever you want to say. It's okay to be a fan and not be a huge fan of everything that they do. And I've seen comments about reviews we do sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, well, you got two guys' opinion. You don't have to, if you don't agree, that's cool. I may not agree with what you say, but like, it's all done out of respect, kids. We're big Eddie Murphy fans over here. And I still think Golden Child is a highly entertaining film. We'll have to do that one of these days. Kids, there you have it. There's another 48 hours for you. Go check out all the Eddie Murphy content in the archives. We got a bunch of it. Too much to name right here. So go do a deep dive on Boink Studios YouTube and check it out. And be sure to come back next week for another brand new episode of the 6M Podcast. But until then, that is another 48 hours. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at 6M Podcasts. We'll see you next time.